or one of them is, the other one's watching Mary Poppins. I thought I'd use this as an excuse to talk about Mythos, just why it's such a good game. We'll start with the models, so let's have a look. Right, this is the faction I'll be running. This is the hidden ones. So as you could probably tell, I was drawn to this faction by this little monster here. Look at that. Don't you think that's absolutely fantastic? So this is Click Clack. Click Clack is what you call a myth. So each faction, or most of the factions, will have what they call a mythical creature who's a big bad nasty or has something about it. Click Clack and the Angler, which is this little chap here, who's the familiar, are actually the Sea Queen's sons, which is, it's quite fun really, because love these models. So basically what that means is there's a lot of synergies in this game. So what you find for the hidden ones is you kill Mummy, this chap's going to go mental. You kill the Angler, Mummy's going to go mental. You kill Click Clack, Mummy's going to go mental. So it creates a bit of dynamic and a bit of thinking for my foes, like how they want to tackle this faction. Sat at the back we have Molly. Molly's a nice little model. She's got basically like tentacles coming out of the back of her cape as such. Not the best picture, I'll just pull that back a bit. There we go. If you see the little tentacles coming down, because she's more of like a support piece who focuses on like arcane range attacks. A very solid option. The next one being the Fisherman King. The Fisherman King has basically like two personas. His sane one seems to be more combat based, where his mad one seems to be more range based. So basically that big harpoon, he's throwing it at people when he's going a bit mental, which is really good. A good example being was the last game I had against Chuck. We ended the game with the Fisherman King climbing up onto a plinth and throwing a spear at throwing the harpoon at one of his men just to finish the game off, and it was brutal. Right, so as I mentioned about the Fisherman King and Sanity, so basically what you do is you've got cards that basically will flip. You have an insane side and a sane side. So generally what happens, every model does have a sane and a crazy side, and a couple of things can make this happen. So what you either have is you have like a trigger, or you have what we call a flip. So basically as you progress through the game, spending Mythos, which is basically used to do various things, you get madder and madder and madder as you go. Example is on Molly, when she gets to 4, she will automatically flip to this. Sometimes there's negatives, sometimes there's positives. In this case, a good example has been Arcane Addiction. If this model does not do an arc attack, it'll suffer 1 wound. So she is now, because she's crazy, she's lusting to do this damage to people using her like zaps. I'm talking about the flips. So an automatic a flip because of a reaction, for example, would be say the Dockland Queen lost one of her 2 sons. She'll basically go to the loss of a child. If basically mark the model and then causes the flip, as soon as she flips, she'll go crazy and a mother's rage kicks in. She'll basically keep blasting that model that's killed one of her sons until it's dead. But she doesn't have, if you look at this, she doesn't have a flip any other way. So it's a kind of, it does balance the game out, because to me this side is really strong, because so talking about negatives and positives, her arcane is 9 attack, 7 defense, but if you look on this side it goes to 10, and it's bonkers. Even like the The arc on this has got fatigue. Fatigue's alright, minus in the action points, but the arc on this has got bleed, which is doing 2 damage when it's over and over and over and over again, and it's very nasty. I wouldn't like to mess with it when you kill one of the sons anyway. Going along those lines, Click Clack, as I say, did mention protect the mother. If the Dockland Queen suffers 5 or more damage, so basically like somebody does a big to her because she's quite scary, he's going to start charging forward and beating the crap out of you. As simple as that. Yeah, so I quite like it because the mental side of the game is very much risk and reward. So you can spend the Mythos points to get the benefits, to do things to your enemies or do things during the game, but as your characters go crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier, they start losing their minds a little bit, and then what you start doing is rolling on the sanity effects table, which is brilliant really, because stuff like, yeah, you're rolling at the start of every turn 2d6, and you're adding your sanity to whatever you roll. So for example, I don't know, the Sea Queen might have a sanity of 5, which means she's now testing, which automatically happens as soon as you do it, and then the start of every turn. So, oh look, I've just rolled a 7. So 7 plus 5 is, quick maths, 12, and on the chart it would be for a non-myth or myth, so in this case it's a non-myth. The model maybe activate normally this turn. That's a good roll, right? Okay, say for example I rolled a 6 and a 4, 10, plus the 5, which is a 70, she rolls 15. The model suffers a paralysed condition. So what that means is, because your model is going like this, it's effectively lost all its action points and it's just stood still for that entire game until you do another test. If you get basically 19 or higher, the model's dead. It's as simple as that. It's gone that crazy that it's useless to the world and it's just pissed off somewhere. And I like this because you're going to go like, so, okay, so for example, combat. We'll look at Molly. Molly has, it's using a knife in combat, so the green one at the top, just there, knife in combat. It says combat base bleed. What that means is, if you're successful in the attack, you can go, unless you roll double 6s, which happens automatically, you can spend 1 myth to put the bleed condition on the model you have just attacked. Now you think, why would you want to do that? Well, when that model activates, it takes 2 damage. But if you go, oh look, I've just got another bleed, that model will straight up take 2 damage, plus then take another 2 damage when it activates. It suddenly ramps up the attacks going, oh yeah, Molly might go, well actually I've rolled quite well, I've done top end, I don't know, 12 damage, it goes to 14 damage because you've just put that extra thing on. But because she spent the myth to do that, she's gone a little bit mad, and it just seems to work really well. Combat. So combat is what you call live combats. So if we go to, for example, Click Clack. Click Clack has a com value of 9/8, so he's got basically an attack stat of 9 and a defense of 8. So in the attack sequence, if I'm attacking somebody, I would use the first number, they would use the second number on their card. So a good example, let's do a bit of Brotherly Love. Click Clack attacks the Angler in com. He has a 9, the Angler has a defense of 6. I would then roll 2 dice. So in this case, Click Clack's got an 8, which makes it a 17. The Angler, it's live combat, will also roll 2 dice. He's rolled 9 plus his 6, which is 15, which 8 plus 9, which means that Click Clack's beaten him by 2. Doesn't sound much, but that's straight damage. This also means models, if you're attacking another model, you really have to weigh up the options going, well actually is it worth it, because maybe he's better in combat than me, because even the defensive rolls, you can hurt your enemy, and if you win the combat, you can then spend the myth to do the condition, and this is where the game can ramp up really fast, but also mess your models up as they're cracking up as the game plays. That's basically it in a nutshell. There's quite a lot of scenarios. I personally would recommend have a look on Paranoid Miniatures website, as the rules are downloadable for free. They even do paper dollies, which I quite like in Guild Ball. That's how I actually got into Guild Ball as well. And just have a look. I mean, it's like a try before you buy. What harm can it do? Another thing I really liked is the smaller cards that come. So these are like your sanity and health trackers. It also comes with markers to put the conditions on that you're suffering. And what I really like is the rules are on the back for all the conditions. This is a humongous time saver. As myself, who's somebody who doesn't generally read the rules, I basically watched a back rep on the Paranoid Miniatures page. I had a little bit of a demo a while ago with Bear, and it was easy because basically it goes, oh look, the cheat card that's got all the bits and bobs, how to play the turn sequence. Oh look, the sanity tracker. Oh look, the stat cards for the models. Oh look, basically everything comes in the box for you to actually start playing. I also just picked up a little sexy new map for the Mythos. Myself and Chris are hoping to do some bat reps very soon, but we'll keep you up to date on that. So there you go, that's the basics for Mythos from me. There is obviously a lot more depth to the game than what I've been mumbling about for the last 15 minutes of your life, or the time you're not going to get back. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this game. Me and Chris are basically, we're going to work our way through the campaign scenarios. We're going to do the Sea Queen, we're going to try some bits with the cult leader, and just work our way through the book, and hopefully when the Kickstarter lands, we'll be jumping on that as well. But as I say, we'll keep you in touch. Thanks for watching. Please like, please subscribe. It does bloody help. We don't want your money, just your love.